And year to date, with all this calamity, all the negative talk of Bitcoin's jumped 70%.
Bitcoin's value and popularity have skyrocketed in recent years, establishing it as a global financial force. Nonetheless, governments and financial institutions have not missed cryptocurrency's success and have been vocal in their criticism of the asset. The Federal Reserve has been an outspoken critic of Bitcoin and a major opponent of the cryptocurrency. The Federal Reserve is worried that criminals will use Bitcoin to launder money or fund terrorist attacks without adequate oversight. Many national governments have taken measures to control or outright ban Bitcoin, for reasons including concerns over financial stability and illegal activities. Some countries have banned cryptocurrency exchanges and initial coin offerings, ICOs, as seen in China. Bitcoin proponents, however, insist that the cryptocurrency still has value and can deliver substantial benefits to investors despite these drawbacks. Bitcoin's decentralized nature is a major benefit because it increases transaction transparency and safety. Furthermore, due to its limited supply and rising demand, Bitcoin has experienced significant price appreciation, making it a potentially lucrative investment. Bitcoin's value may continue to soar in the coming years, with some experts predicting it may even surpass its all-time high. Bitcoin is still a valuable asset for those looking for non-conventional investment options, despite widespread skepticism and even outright opposition. Frank Holmes, CEO of U.S. Global Investors and chairman of Hive Blockchain Technologies, is optimistic about the future of cryptocurrency. His ideas on why cryptocurrency will continue to thrive even as banks struggle for survival were discussed in a recent interview with Daniela Common and the Stansberry Research Channel.
That China went anti-Bitcoin because they're coming out with their own digital currency. And what you have to be worried about is that digital currency if you didn't spend the money, it would be vaporized. You lost it. So they really want to control society. Yeah. And so now we get this anti-narrative in the U.S. Is it because the Treasury wants to come up with their own currency? Yeah. And now you got the governor running for president from Florida.
Yeah,
DeSantis, and he's coming out he doesn't want it because there'll be an infringement on your rights. So the whole idea of gold is a decentralized asset.
Right.
And Bitcoin is just a digital asset. It's decentralized. And I just believe that you should have a small component in a portfolio and rebalance it. And year to date, with all this calamity, all the negative talk of Bitcoin's jumped 70%. Yeah. So gold's up, 18, 19%, but nothing compared to, the NASDAQ it's had a bounce here. But I think that talking about the big picture, that's good news, is that since I was born,
yes,
in the third year of the president's term, the market's up 90-some-odd% of the time, and it's up between 13 if it's a Democrat and 17% if it's a Republican president in the third year. So we are in the third year, and you see the JETS ETF, it's flying above the S&P, it's outperforming the S&P. The PMIs, because China's opened its economy, they've now gone global PMIs above 50. So I think, the year, don't get caught up so much in the negative narrative,
right,
that it could be if you're not long, you're wrong. All these countries, like now the Bitcoin's coming out, they all want to come out with their own currency,
yes,
because Bitcoin validated the blockchain. What's really important is that the blockchain was created in '91 by Americans. And then we go another decade further, and it's released as the SHA-256, which is the encryption used for your iPhone for facial recognition,
yeah,
also used for Bitcoin. And then 9 years later comes out Bitcoin, because it was the amalgamation of the two, and it's American innovation. So I believe there's a Japanese founder, but really it's just another name. It's an American creation. It was a Defense Department, DARPA of the US government that created SHA-256.
What are the lessons that can be learned from crypto?
Probably the easiest is Bored Ape Yacht Club. They can go to YouTube and learn about it, but how they created a club and a fraternity that original 10,000 animations done with AI of an ape went out at $200, and a year later, yeah, all the editions were worth $600,000. So it created a culture, it created a club, and the only way you could get onto the Zoom, the Discord look and talk to other people is if you were a member and you had to own the art. So it's a cultural phenomenon. And that's what when I first got into curious about this business in 2017, I go to a conference in New York, and the keynote speaker is a CEO of Fidelity. And she doesn't speak at an investment conference, and she's talking about Bitcoin. And the biggest booth was IBM. I said, well, something big is happening in blockchain, and people spend $1,000 a ticket to get in. Then there's 30,000 people spent this in Miami. They're in Barcelona 3 weeks ago. It's in England. So the ecosystem for Bitcoin, there's 12,000 independent nodes around the world validating transactions. So it's a really interesting group of people that want to have this mechanism that's released all this other innovation. But I really looked at it as being, I have an asset class and you have a diversified portfolio. I've always advocating of a 10% weighting in gold, just like Ray Dalio at Bridgewater, he always has for his parity trading some gold. And along comes this Bitcoin, and the gold bugs are telling me about it, and I said, you know, that's interesting, an asset class,
right.
So maybe 3% a jalapeno, but you can't eat a plate of jalapenos. But the diehards, the advocates, the really hardcore, they're only long Bitcoin.
Let me ask you this, as an operator in the space, how concerned are you of coming regulation, or do you see it as a positive?
Well, I think it could be a positive, but it concerns you when they shut down banks the way they did Signature, and how that took place. So that does create a concern. And how I saw in Canada, the accounting board was used as a weapon to go after anything that was crypto, not to get auditors. You have to support getting auditors to actually chase away crooks like Sam Bankman. You have to have lots of auditors and make it easy and auditors not to be attacked by the audit committee.
In a recent interview, Neuner discussed his ideas with Michelle Macquarie, anchor and editor-in-chief at Kick Them News.
And I think that as much as the Fed would like to tighten, and as much as Jerome Powell kept a very strong demeanor in his last conference, the market didn't believe what he said. He said that on the dot plot, there would be no rate drops this year. But if you look at the Fed expectations, at the expectations of the market's expecting 3 rate cuts this year. So I think as much as the Fed wants to convince us that they are going to remain in a tightening cycle, I think we're inevitably going to go into a loosening cycle. Loosening cycle means more liquidity. More liquidity equals good for Bitcoin. And so I think if we look at Bitcoin, I don't want to make short-term predictions, but let's say 3 to 6 months, I think definitely the number's higher than 28,000 where we are today. I think the high is depending how far you want to look at it. But you see, I don't know if liquidity is something that changes in 3 months. But if you tell me between now and the end of the year, I definitely see Bitcoin going above 50,000 this year. If everything stays as it is, set par, I think that we definitely see a Bitcoin around 50,000 later on this year. Is it going to happen in the next 3 months? It's very hard to understand how much liquidity will flow into the market in the next 3 months. So very difficult to call, but definitely I'm a bull this time around. I definitely think before during the next halving cycle. So if you follow the halving cycle that I showed you, I do think that as we progress into the halving, we will see the new highs, but we're talking about that's a year away, a year and a bit away.
Now that you've heard Mark Holmes and Rand Neuner's predictions for Bitcoin's price, what do you think? Do you agree or disagree with their assessments? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more updates on market trends and investment opportunities.